My best friend asked me to seduce his new girlfriend. I'm the kind of guy who blushes just from holding a girl's hand, and now I was being forced to send a pics to my friend's girl. He coached me, step by step, on how to win her over. He even Venmo'd me cash to buy flowers for the big confession. So I did it. I stood there with the bouquet, my heart pounding, and barely got half the words out before she, my best friend's gorgeous, untouchable girlfriend, smiled and cut me off. "Okay," she said, "I'm your girlfriend now." Before I could even process the shock, my friend was taking me out to dinner to celebrate me finally getting a girlfriend. I thought I was the most despicable, backstabbing scumbag on the planet. Then my new girlfriend smiled at me and said, "You know that saying, bros before hoes? In your case, it's more like bro helps you steal his hoe." "Ethan, what's the status? Any progress with my girlfriend?" The call came from Leo, my best friend, his voice a familiar mix of impatience and entitlement. I stared at my iMessage chat with Chloe Davis. The last message was mine, sent half an hour ago. No reply. I scrolled up. A graveyard of her curt responses. "Okay, sure, got it." I sighed. Nothing. She barely even talks to me. Leo, however, was brimming with confidence on the other end, channeling some kind of pickup artist guru. "Dude, women are all about playing hard to get." She says no, but her heart is screaming yes. "Keep sending them. Send those pics I had you take. Double the dose." I bet she's in her dorm right now, saving them under her covers. A wave of nausea washed over me. I felt like some kind of creep hiding behind a screen. Ever since Leo came up with this insane plan, I'd been his puppet for a month. Daily good morning and good night texts, asking if she'd eaten, all accompanied by photos of me that he'd personally curated. It started with candid shots of me looking handsome and carefree, and now it had escalated to shirtless pics. I felt like I was splitting in two. Pinching the bridge of my nose, I finally snapped. "I can't, Leo. I can't do this anymore. Friends' girlfriends are off limits, man. That's like the #1 rule of the bro code. You're asking me to hit on your girlfriend. What the hell is wrong with you?" I was practically yelling. The absurdity and guilt of the past month had reached a boiling point. We're supposed to be best friends. I can't live with myself doing this. The line went silent for a few seconds. Then Leo's voice turned cold as he deployed his signature move, the guilt trip. "Wow, Ethan, so you get a little TikTok famous, and suddenly you're too good for your old friends?" He brought up high school, his voice dripping with condescension. "Have you forgotten what you were like when you first transferred? Skinny, dressed like a total nerd. Nothing going for you except good grades. Who took you shopping, taught you how to dress, and turned you from a bookworm into the campus heartthrob? Who had your back when those towny kids tried to jump you? I helped you out with all that, and now you can't do this one little thing for me." He twisted every favor he'd ever done for me into a weapon of moral blackmail. Those memories wrapped around me like chains, suffocating me. I had to admit, without him, my high school life would have been completely different. He was like a spotlight that had found me in my gray, insecure world. I was grateful to him, and I considered him my best friend. But that gratitude wasn't a blank check for him to use me however he wanted. He sensed my hesitation, my wavering silence. He immediately upped the ante. My phone buzzed. A notification popped up. "Leo Carter sent you $500 via Venmo. Take the money," he said. "Just think of it as helping a brother out. This is really important to me. There's another grand in it for you when it's done." The lure of the money and the weight of old debts felt like two mountains crushing me, making it hard to breathe. I didn't come for money. $500 was a big deal for me. Leo didn't even give me a chance to refuse. He immediately sent a picture of a stylish outfit. "Wear this tomorrow. I already bought it for you. Go to her dorm and confess your feelings. It's been over a month. Time to close the deal." His tone was non-negotiable, like a boss giving orders, not a friend asking for help. The sheer arrogance of it stung, and a wave of surreal dread washed over me. "Leo, what the hell are you really trying to do?" I finally demanded. "You chased her for over a year to get her. Why would you think I could win her over in a month? Is she even really your girlfriend? Why are you making me do this?" On the other end of the FaceTime call, Leo just chuckled mysteriously. "You'll find out soon enough, buddy. Hashtag, 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 to the next day. I stood under Chloe's dorm building, wearing the outfit Leo had picked out, clutching a bouquet of roses he'd had delivered to my apartment that morning. I felt like a total joke. Girls walking by were pointing and whispering. Their curious stares made my skin crawl. I just wanted the ground to open up and swallow me. I could even hear snippets of their conversations. Wow, isn't that Ethan Miller? The guy who's huge on TikTok. Who's he confessing to? So romantic. I wonder who the lucky girl is. Lucky? I felt like a fraud. I was basically the homewrecker in chief. The minutes ticked by. My palms were sweating so much I was about to crush the rose stems. Just as I was about to give up and bolt, Chloe appeared. She was wearing a simple white t-shirt and a skirt. No makeup, her hair tied back loosely. Even so, she was stunningly beautiful. A cool, serene aura made her stand out effortlessly from the crowd. She saw me, took in my ridiculous getup, and her expression remained perfectly calm, without a ripple of surprise. It was as if she'd been expecting me. Steeling myself, I walked toward her like a robot and held out the flowers. Chloe, the words got stuck in my throat. My mind was a battlefield. On one side was Leo's determined face. On the other, the 5 words screaming in my conscience. Friends, girlfriends are off limits. I felt like the world's biggest scumbag, actively trying to steal my best friend's girl. My mouth hung open, awkwardly stuck. My face flushed crimson. I couldn't force out a single word. This was so humiliating. In front of everyone, I set the bouquet down on a nearby bench and turned away in disgrace. I just need to make a call. I scurried around the corner of the building and dialed Leo's number, my voice almost a desperate plea. Dude, I really can't do this. It's too awkward. She's your girlfriend. What kind of person am I, confessing my love to her in front of the whole world? Leo, please don't make me do this. On the other end, Leo's voice exploded with frustration. Were you a coward? Just get it done. It's just a confession. Channel some of that confidence you have in your TikTok videos. I don't care what you do, but you're going to win over my girlfriend today. With that, he hung up with a sharp click, cutting off my only escape route. I clenched my phone, the veins on the back of my hand popping. Deep breath. Another deep breath. I turned around and walked back to Chloe. She was still standing there, watching me, a faint, unreadable smile playing on her lips. With nothing left to lose, I went for broke, reciting the lines like a robot. The truth is, I've always really liked you. Will you be my girl? The word friend was still forming in my mouth, but Chloe suddenly laughed. The sound transformed her cool expression, making her face come alive. She reached out and picked up the roses I'd abandoned on the stone bench. Then, she took a step closer. Before I could react, she gently took my hand, which was ice cold with nerves. Okay, she said, her voice light and clear. I accept. I'm your girlfriend now. The moment her warm hand closed around my wrist, my brain shut down. A bomb went off in my head, leaving nothing but an endless stream of question marks. What just happened? She just said yes. Was my best friend's relationship status about to change to it's complicated? Hashtag 3. I was completely stunned. Chloe held my hand and led me on a lap around campus like I was a soulless marionette. Her hand was soft and warm, but my mind was a tangled mess. I couldn't even begin to process this sudden romance. It wasn't until she waved goodbye and went back to her dorm that I felt like I could finally breathe again, as if I'd just been pulled from underwater. My phone vibrated. It was a text from Leo. My man, that was fast. We already broke up. Dinner's on me tomorrow night. To celebrate you finally getting a girl, and to celebrate, well, you'll see. I'll pick you up, bringing someone you should meet. His tone was oozing with a triumphant excitement he couldn't hide. Reading the text, the strange feeling in my gut only intensified. The next evening, at a lavish, high-end restaurant downtown, I met up with Leo. He had a woman with him, dressed to the nines in flashy jewelry and heavy makeup. Ethan, my man, let me introduce you, Leo said, beaming, throwing a friendly arm around my shoulder. This is Victoria Lane, a senior from my university. Victoria, this is my best friend, Ethan Miller. Handsome, right? Victoria shot me a sultry look and raised her wine glass. Leo's told me all about you. You're even cuter in person. I managed a stiff smile and clinked my glass against hers. Over dinner, a smug Leo finally revealed the whole story. It turned out that shortly after starting college, he'd caught the eye of this rich older student, Victoria, at a club event. This was less than a week after he'd finally won over Chloe with a year of relentless pursuit. Long-distance relationships are a long shot anyway, and Victoria has been so good to me. I had to pick the option with a future, you know? But breaking up with Chloe right after I got her would make me look like a total jerk, Leo said, taking a sip of red wine, a self-satisfied smirk on his face. So, that's where you came in, buddy. I had you go after her. You're at the same school. If she cheated on me first, then I become the victim, right? I get a clean break, and no one could say a bad word about me. See? It's perfect. She found a new guy in you. I have Victoria, and we both save face. Dude, I seriously couldn't have done it without you. He raised his glass, ready for a toast. I looked at his beaming face and felt a wave of disgust and a bone-deep chill. He hadn't just treated Chloe like an object to be discarded. He'd used me as a weapon to do his dirty work. He'd used my reputation to protect his own. I took a closer look at Victoria. She was attractive with a great figure, but she had none of the effortless grace and cool elegance that Chloe radiated. How blind could Leo be to give up Chloe for her? Or was it just the rich part he was after? During the meal, Leo excused himself to go to the restroom and secretly texted me. Bro, do me a favor. Keep your new sister-in-law's glass full. She's a lightweight. 2 drinks and she's out. I'm thinking of taking her straight to a hotel tonight. I stared at the message, then glanced at Victoria, whose face was already flushed from the alcohol, her eyes getting hazy. A powerful sense of guilt and revulsion churned in my stomach. What the hell was I doing? I'd already been Leo's accomplice in his scheme against Chloe. Was I now going to help him take advantage of another woman? I texted back, "You're on your own," but when Leo returned, he kept shooting me pointed looks, saying things like, "Ethan, you haven't even properly toasted Victoria yet." In the end, I couldn't stand up to his relentless pressure. I grudgingly raised my glass and gave Victoria a couple of half-hearted toasts. Watching Leo contentedly help a stumbling, drunk Victoria into an Uber, I felt a sense of relief, but a heavy weight settled in my heart. I pulled out my phone, my thumb hovering over the screen for a long time before I finally typed a message to Chloe. I think I just did something wrong again. Back on campus, I asked Chloe to meet me at the track. The night air was cool as I told her everything that had happened at dinner. Leo's whole twisted plan, the existence of Victoria, and my own shameful role as his accomplice. When I finished, I hung my head, feeling like a criminal awaiting sentencing. I'm so sorry. I expected her to be furious, to yell at me, maybe even slap me before storming off. I was prepared for anything, but after a long silence, all I heard was a soft laugh. My head shot up. Chloe was tilting her head, looking at me, her clear eyes filled with amusement. And here I was, thinking you were some kind of player up to no good. Why are you feeling guilty? I was utterly baffled, my mind a complete blank. Player? When did I become a player? I jumped to my feet, my voice cracking. I've barely even held a girl's hand. You were the one who grabbed mine. The word player had absolutely no connection to my life. This was a slander of the highest order. Chloe raised an eyebrow, seemingly pleased with my reaction. She casually pulled out her phone, dialed a number, and put it on speaker. "Hey, Jenny, you asleep?" A cheerful voice answered from the other end. "Not yet, girl. What's up? Quick question. Do you remember Ethan Miller from our high school? You know, Leo's handsome sidekick. Of course. How could I forget? The guy who was unfairly gorgeous," the girl on the phone gushed. Chloe chuckled softly before dropping the bombshell. "Would you say he was a huge player?" "Totally." Jenny's voice shot up an octave, full of righteous indignation. "The guy was a total man whore. Flirted with everyone. Leo told us himself. He warned all of us to stay away from Ethan. He said Ethan just acts innocent, but he's secretly gone through tons of girls and that we shouldn't fall for his act. We all thought Leo was just being a good guy, looking out for us. Looking back, they were probably both just a couple of scumbags." After she hung up, the track was shrouded in a dead silence. A cool night breeze swept by, but it couldn't dispel the icy chill in my heart. The truth hit me like a poison dagger, stabbing deep and true. All this time, since high school, Leo had been spreading lies about me behind my back. He'd systematically destroyed my reputation, preventing any girl from getting too close, ensuring I remained his personal wingman and background decoration. I was shaking with rage, my teeth clenched so hard they audibly ground together, but I couldn't say a word. Just as the overwhelming sense of anger and betrayal was about to consume me, a pair of warm hands reached out. Chloe gently smoothed the deep furrow in my brow. She moved closer, and her pleasant, subtle fragrance enveloped me. "Don't be angry," she whispered. I knew something was off for a long time. He chased me for a whole year in high school, and I never said yes. When he kept at it after we started college, I thought, why not give it a try? But the very night I agreed to date him, we went out to dinner, and I just got a bad feeling about him. The person he described to me and the person I saw with my own eyes were two completely different people. Her words were like a warm current, instantly soothing my fury. I sat on the bench, still reeling from the shock and rage of Leo's betrayal. Memories from high school resurfaced, now painfully clear and ironic. Girls would use homework as an excuse to approach my desk, slipping me notes and snacks, their eyes full of shy affection. Leo would always appear at the perfect moment, draping an arm around my shoulder and telling them with a laugh, "Hey now, our Ethan's a sensitive soul. Don't scare him off." Then he'd turn to me and say, with a serious tone, "Dude, stay away from them. Girls like that are just trouble. They'll play you." At the time, I believed him. I was even grateful he was looking out for me. Now I realized he was just protecting his status as the center of attention, stamping out any spark of interest that might have come my way. I had been a complete and utter fool, used from start to finish. A cold soda compressed against my cheek, pulling me from my thoughts. Chloe was sitting beside me, offering me the drink without a word of pity, her silent presence a comfort in itself. So, back in high school, when you'd blush every time a girl flirted with you, that was real, not an act. Her voice held a teasing note, cutting through the heavy atmosphere. I nodded, embarrassed, feeling the heat rise to my ears again. I really couldn't handle it back then. I remembered how the bold jokes and close proximity of my female classmates would make my heart race, leaving me flustered and tongue-tied. I was all talk and no game. Chloe's laugh was brighter this time, her shoulders shaking with amusement. "This is hilarious. The guy with a reputation as a legendary player turns out to be a total choir boy who can't even hold a girl's hand." As she spoke, she reached out and poked my cheek with her index finger. The touch was light, cool, and soft. The spot she touched felt like it was on fire, the heat spreading across my entire face. I looked into her smiling eyes, which seemed to hold a universe of stars. I couldn't stop myself from asking the question that had been haunting me. "Then why did you say yes to me? You knew Leo sent me. You knew it was all a malicious setup." Chloe's smile faded, and she looked at me with a serious, deep gaze. "Because when you came to my dorm to confess, you got halfway through, then chickened out and ran to a corner to make a phone call. I heard everything." She cleared her throat and perfectly mimicked my hushed, pleading voice from that day. "Dude, I can't do this. It's too awkward. She's your girlfriend. What does that make me?" My face exploded in a fireball of mortification. I wished I could spontaneously combust. This was social suicide on a biblical scale. She saw my utter humiliation, and the laughter returned to her eyes, deeper this time. "In that moment, I realized you were infinitely better than that hypocritical phony, Leo." She paused, then added softly, as if sharing a secret. "Besides, I always thought you were kind of cute in high school. You were such an oblivious blockhead, always with your nose buried in a book. A total nerd. ####6. With Chloe's official endorsement, I finally began to recover from the years of Leo's betrayal. The anger and humiliation were still there, but they were overshadowed by a sense of closure and a secret flicker of joy. She declared that since we were now a legitimate couple, we needed a proper first date. As a complete novice in the romance department, I racked my brain and clumsily planned the most cliched date imaginable. Movie, dinner, walk in the park. The entire time, my palms were sweating. I was so nervous, I couldn't even figure out how to offer her the popcorn I'd bought. In the end, she took pity on me and just took the bucket from my lap herself. Inside the dark theater, we were watching a romance film. When the main characters leaned in for a passionate kiss, I instinctively glanced at Chloe. To my surprise, she was already turned towards me, watching me with an amused and knowing expression. In the dim light, her eyes were shockingly bright. The second our eyes met, my face ignited. I swear you could have fried an egg on my cheek. I whipped my head back to the screen as if I'd been burned, my heart hammering against my ribs. I didn't register a single word of the movie after that. Her smiling gaze was all I could think about. After the movie, we walked back to campus under the cool night sky. I had finally managed to calm down when Chloe suddenly stopped. "Ethan," she said. I paused, looking at her. "Do you think I'm being too forward?" she asked. I nodded honestly. From accepting my ridiculous confession to taking my hand to that look in the theater, she had been the one driving everything between us. She grinned, a sly, cat that got the canary smile. "Well, what choice do I have?" she said. "You're such an oblivious blockhead. If I didn't take the lead, I'd be waiting until the next ice age for you to make a move." She confessed that she'd started noticing me back in our sophomore year of high school, in the library. At a time when most guys were loud and restless, I was always the one sitting quietly in a corner, lost in a book for hours. I had a calm maturity that seemed beyond my years. She said she felt like we were the same kind of person. My jaw dropped as I dug through the dusty corners of my memory. I remembered. In high school, my go-to spot was a corner table by the window in the library. And diagonally across from me, in another corner, there was always a quiet, elegant girl, also absorbed in a book. We were separated by rows of shelves and countless quiet afternoons. I was aware of her presence, but I'd never really seen her face clearly. That was her. If only I had been a little braver back then, brave enough to just walk over and say hello. Would our story have been different? "It's not too late now," she said as if reading my mind. She reached out and took my hand. This time, she laced her fingers through mine. The warmth and firmness of her palm flowed up my arm and straight into my heart, completely chasing away the last shadows of Leo's betrayal. "From now on, you're not allowed to call me Chloe or Chloe Davises in your head anymore," she commanded, tilting her head. "You have to call me baby. #7. After our official first date, our relationship heated up quickly. Like any guy in his first real relationship, I wanted to give her the world. My income from making TikToks was starting to become steady. It wasn't much, but I spent most of it on her. I took her to the highest-rated food trucks, bought her trendy snacks she'd casually mentioned, and we explored every boutique near campus. None of it was expensive, but every time I gave her something, her eyes would light up, and she'd smile more brightly than if I'd given her a designer handbag. We became that couple on campus, the one everyone envied. I was the tall, handsome influencer, and she was the cool, stunning beauty. When we walked together, heads turned. One day, Chloe and I were eating at a new restaurant off campus when we ran into a few girls from our high school. It's a small world. When they saw us holding hands, their expressions were a priceless mix of shock, disdain, and morbid curiosity. One of them, a girl with bleach blonde hair named Ashley, spoke up, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Well, if it isn't our high school's legendary player, Ethan Miller." Her voice was just loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear. "What's the deal? Got a new type? Poaching your best friend's girl now. Does Leo know? Poor guy. He must be crushed to have a friend like you." The harsh words felt like a bucket of sludge being dumped over my head. My face darkened, and my grip on Chloe's hand tightened instinctively. I was about to respond when Chloe gently pulled her hand free. She picked up our empty tray and stood up, towering over Ashley. She looked down at her, a cold smile playing on her lips. Her presence was commanding. "Are your words always this foul? Or did you just finish eating out of a toilet?" Chloe's voice was quiet but sharp as a razor. Ashley's face turned beet red. "You." Chloe cut her off, continuing her methodical takedown. "First, he's not a player. We both know who started those rumors, and people who spread lies tend to find out that karma is a bitch. Second, I'm not some prize to be poached. I'm the one who threw a piece of trash like Leo away. No one wanted him, so Ethan, being the kind soul he is, decided to pick up the trash I left behind. Third, and most importantly," she paused, her gaze sweeping over the gawking onlookers before landing back on Ashley's stunned face. "Who I date is none of your damn business." Her verbal assault was so sharp and ruthless that the girls were left red-faced and speechless. They eventually scurried away under the scornful and amused gazes of the other diners. The restaurant was silent for a beat, then a few people broke into stifled laughter. I looked at Chloe, who had just offended me so fiercely, and my heart felt warm and full, overflowing with emotion. She calmly sat back down, pulled me with her, and reached out to pinch my cheek. Don't listen to those gossips. They'll ruin your appetite. Next time something like this happens, you just stand behind me. I'll handle it. Protecting my boyfriend is a girlfriend's sacred duty. In that moment, I thought she was the coolest person on earth. Our sweet, peaceful days didn't last long. A call from an unknown number shattered our happy bubble. When I answered, a weak, terrified voice came through, punctuated by ragged breaths. Ethan, man, help me. It was Leo. He sounded nothing like the confident, arrogant guy I remembered. He was a completely different person. My stomach dropped, but the sting of his betrayal was too fresh. I couldn't muster any sympathy. My voice was ice. What do you want now? You and I aren't friends anymore. On the other end, Leo started to sob. A raw, broken wail of someone on the verge of collapse. Man, it was wrong. I was so wrong. Between choked sobs, he told me something that left me utterly speechless. Victoria Lane wasn't some rich upperclassman. She was a professional escort. He'd been scammed out of all his money. Worse, he'd been feeling sick lately and went to clinic for some tests. He had HIV. The two letters hit me like a lightning strike. The news was so shocking I couldn't speak for a full minute. I never could have imagined that the shortcut Leo was so desperate to take would turn out to be a dead-end road to hell. Karma had come for him, swift and brutal. Yet I felt no pity. He started begging me frantically over the phone. Dude, I regret it all. I never should have broken up with Chloe. I was an idiot. Help me, man. Can you get her back for me? Please. We can keep doing long distance. I can't lose her. She's the only one who can save me now. Listening to his incoherent rambling, I felt a mix of disgust and disbelief. Leo, are you insane? I yelled into the phone. Do you hear yourself? You want to get back with her? Looking like you do now? You want to kill her? You're beyond help. My shouting seemed to trigger something in him. His tone turned hysterical, laced with a threat. I'm at the gate of your campus. Right now. Ethan, you come out and meet me. And you bring Chloe with you. If you don't, I'm coming in, and I'll search every single dorm until I find her. Alarm bells screamed in my head. He'd completely lost it. He was going to cause a scene. I immediately called Chloe, told her everything, and begged her to stay in her dorm, no matter what. Then I raced to the main campus gate. Sure enough, under the dim glow of a streetlight, I saw Leo. In just over a month, he had transformed completely. He was gaunt, his eyes sunken, his skin a sickly yellow. He looked like a walking corpse. The vibrant, handsome guy he once was had vanished. The moment he saw me, he lunged forward like a madman, grabbing my arm with a death grip, his eyes bloodshot. Where is she? Get Chloe out here to see me. I shoved his hand off, fighting back my revulsion. Go home, Leo. She's not going to see you. You two are done. Done? She's my girlfriend. She always will be, he roared. As we struggled, the one person I didn't want to see appeared. Chloe had come after all, wearing a jacket, walking quickly toward us, her face etched with worry. Ethan, she hadn't trusted me to face this lunatic alone. Seeing Chloe was like seeing a lifeline for Leo. His eyes lit up with a feverish glow. He immediately lunged past me, heading straight for her. Chloe, you came. My blood ran cold. Without a second thought, I threw my arms out and planted myself firmly in front of her, blocking his path. Unable to get past me, Leo completely snapped. He pointed a trembling finger at us and screamed at the top of his lungs to the growing crowd of students. Everyone look at this cheating whore and her new boyfriend. His shout instantly drew the attention of everyone nearby. Students leaving late classes, couples out for a walk, they all stopped and stared. This woman, Chloe Davis, is my girlfriend. We're in a long-distance relationship, and she couldn't even wait. She had to go find some other guy at her school. He pointed at me, his face a mask of anguish, his performance worthy of an Oscar. And this guy was my best damn friend. I treated him like a brother, and he stabbed me in the back. His raw screams echoed in the quiet night. A circle of people quickly formed around us, whispering and pointing. Their curious, judgmental, and morbidly fascinated stares felt like thousands of tiny needles piercing my skin. The sudden, vicious accusations left me completely stunned. I stared at Leo's twisted, furious face. The memory of all his past favors collided with the humiliating reality of my current situation. I stood frozen, my throat tight, unable to utter a single word in my defense. How could I explain? Tell them he'd asked me to seduce her? Who would believe that? Tell them he had HIV? That would sound like a cruel, desperate lie to save my own skin. Seeing my silence, Leo grew even bolder. He played the part of the tragic victim to perfection, weeping as he recounted our betrayal. From the crowd, I could hear whispers starting to bubble up. What a scumbag slut. Just as I felt the world closing in, a hand took mine, its grip firm and steady. It was Chloe. Her touch was reassuring, a silent promise. First, she calmly took out her phone. Shielding it from Leo's view, she dialed 911. Then, she pulled me behind her and stepped into the center of the circle. Her voice, cool and powerful, cut through the murmurs. "Excuse me, everyone. Sorry to interrupt your evening, but if I could have your attention for a minute. Before you listen to this man's performance, I have a few things to say. Also, for your own safety, I'd advise you to keep your distance from him. At least 15 feet would be best." Her words carried an authority that instantly silenced the crowd. Everyone instinctively took a few steps back. Chloe looked directly at the stunned Leo. Her words were deliberate and clear, like a prosecutor laying out a case. "First, the long-distance girlfriend he's talking about, me, only became single after he explicitly told me he wanted us to go our separate ways. I have the text messages, which can be verified at any time. Second, why did he want to break up? Because less than a week after we started dating, he decided to climb the social ladder with a certain senior at his university. To chase after her without any baggage, and without looking like a jerk, he asked his best friend, Ethan, to seduce me. He wanted me to be the one to cheat, so he could walk away with a clean conscience." A wave of gasps rippled through the crowd. Faces turned from judgment to shock. Leo's face went white. "You're lying." Chloe didn't pause. She delivered the final, devastating blow. "Third, why is he back now, acting like a cornered animal? Because the rich senior he worked so hard to get wasn't rich at all. He was scammed out of his money, and it all blew up in his face. And even more unfortunately for him, he contracted HIV. The letters HIV detonated in the crowd. A collective gasp of horror erupted, followed by a frantic scramble as everyone lurched even further away, as if Leo were a walking plague. The looks they gave him morphed from curiosity and sympathy to raw fear and disgust. "You're lying. You bitch. You're making it all up." Leo was completely unhinged now. A caged beast roaring, tried to lunge forward and tear Chloe apart. But the wall of terrified onlookers trapped him in place. Chloe stared him down, her eyes devoid of any warmth. "Am I?" she said coldly. "That's perfect, because the police are on their way. We can all go to the hospital together and get you tested. Then we'll see who's lying." Leo, a person who gets a disease like that, and, instead of seeking treatment, comes back to harass his ex-girlfriend. "Were you trying to drag me down into the abyss with you? How truly evil are you?" Every word was a sword, expertly piercing through his lies and deceptions. The sound of approaching sirens was the final straw. The arrival of the police shattered Leo's last shred of composure. Under the weight of hundreds of scornful, fearful, and disgusted glares, he was escorted away by the officers. The drama he had orchestrated himself had ended in the most spectacular, and for him, the most humiliating way possible. Chloe and I went to the police station to give our statements. We told them everything, providing Leo's Venmo transactions and text messages as evidence. Leo was charged with public disturbance and potential reckless endangerment for attempting to knowingly spread an infectious disease. His university was notified. His future was now a matter for the law and the school's disciplinary board. He was finished. It was dark by the time we left the station. I walked beside Chloe, looking at her profile in the dim light, my heart a mix of 1,000 emotions. "Thank you," I said, and I meant it more than I'd ever meant anything. If it weren't for her, I would have been the one destroyed tonight, forever branded as the guy who stole his best friend's girlfriend, unable to show my face on campus again. She turned to me and smiled, a brilliant, radiant smile. "Thank me for what? I was just protecting my boyfriend." Her smile seemed to glow under the streetlights, filling me with a profound warmth. On the walk back to campus, she brought up the past again, as if remembering something funny. "Hey, you big blockhead," she said. "Back when you were confessing to me, hiding in that corner on the phone, did you feel like a total scumbag?" My face flushed. I couldn't believe she remembered that so clearly. "A little," I admitted sheepishly. "I felt like I wasn't a good person. You know, at that moment, I thought you were the most adorable thing I'd ever seen." She suddenly stopped, stood on her toes, and gave me a soft, quick kiss on the cheek. The touch was warm, there and gone in an instant. I froze, my heart threatening to beat its way out of my chest. I was so happy I felt like I might just melt right there on the sidewalk. She looked at my dumbfounded expression and added with another smile, "A truly bad person would never feel guilty about doing something bad. So, you see, I knew you were mine from the very beginning, and Leo never stood a chance of taking you away." I realized then that I had never been fighting this battle alone. I hadn't just gotten lucky and stumbled into a relationship with an amazing girl. To put the past behind me for good, and to have a place where Chloe and I could have some privacy, I used the money from my TikTok videos and my scholarship savings to rent a small apartment off campus. It wasn't big, just a one-bedroom, but it was clean and cozy. It was finally our own space. I excitedly brought Chloe over to see my new home. After a quick tour, she wrinkled her nose with a look of mock disgust. "Ethan, this place is tiny. It's smaller than my living room at home." I was shocked. "Your living room is that big? Are you secretly a trust fund baby or something?" I'd always assumed her family was middle class, maybe a little better off than mine. I had no idea she was a bona fide rich girl. Chloe lifted her chin proudly, like a preening peacock. "Not really, just a little pocket money." Then her tone shifted. She crossed her arms, adopting the voice of a queen addressing her subject. "So, you'd better learn how to treat me right from now on. Keep me happy, and you'll be set for life." Her playful act was so cute it made me laugh. I walked over and wrapped my arms around her from behind, resting my chin on her shoulder and holding her tight. My heart was full of gratitude and the sweet relief of having survived the storm. Everyone else lives by the bro code, but my story is bro helps you steal his girl. I really hit the jackpot with you. Nestled in my arms, she traced lazy circles on my chest with her finger, correcting me with mock seriousness. "First, a guy like Leo doesn't deserve to be your friend. Second, you didn't hit the jackpot. I'm just a savvy investor who saw your potential early on." She couldn't hold back her own laughter, her body shaking in my embrace. "You have no idea. When I first held your hand, your face turned redder than a tomato. You were even more innocent than me. The mood was perfect." I leaned down, intending to kiss her soft lips, but she suddenly looked up, dodging my kiss. Her eyes were sparkling as if she'd just made a grand discovery. Her fingers, which had been on my chest, started to trail mischievously downward, circling over my flat, firm stomach. "Hey, Mr. Innocent," she purred, her voice a little husky. "You sent me a lot of pics when you were trying to win me over. Don't you think it's time for a live inspection? Come on, let me see." As she spoke, her hands were already at work, deftly lifting the hem of my shirt. Outside, the evening was gentle. Inside, things were heating up. I quickly grabbed her wandering hands, my cheeks burning. "No, we can't. It's still daytime." She gave me a sly smile and pressed her body against mine, leaning in a whisper in my ear. Her warm breath was a ticklish, electric sensation. "I want to see," she murmured, her voice soft and seductive. "Today, either you're ending up on that bed, or I am. But either way, I'm getting what I was promised.